of my mom. And she was elderly, and her partner had just passed away, and that took half of her income. Well, not income, half of their household income. And I was with her for the next 10 years. So yeah, I lived pretty much right here in this part of the parking lot. So yeah, when you're out on the east side of Columbus, you definitely need to stop by Jolly Pirate Donuts. Look at that. Now, of course I stopped by Jolly Pirates. You know, this is the one part of Reynoldsburg, Ohio that I deeply miss anytime I'm not here, because they have the best donuts. You see that fluffiness there? Look at that. Look at that fluffiness. That is a Bismarck. Some places call these Long Johns. They're called Bismarcks when you go to Long John's. Or Jolly Pirate, good lord. And they're so good. The dough is just perfect. The cream tastes right. The chocolate glaze on top is just delightful. Best donut ever. I mean, all their donuts are the best donuts ever. There's a bakery out here on the east side of town also called Resch's. If you're looking for a cake, go to Resch. They make the best. Like, their cakes are fabulous. Their breads, whatever they bake is fabulous. But for donuts, Jolly Pirate. Jolly Pirate all the way. If you ever find yourself in Reynoldsburg, Ohio, Jolly Pirate donut. Best donut. Doesn't matter what flavor you get, it'll be the best donut. Their Bismarcks are my favorite, but their apple fritters are to die for. So, I'm going to sit here and enjoy this. Anytime you're in town, check out Jolly Pirate. Best donuts ever. We're heading off now to the last place that I stayed at in Reynoldsburg. When I came back to help my mom out through the latter part of her life, we had been staying at the trailer, the mobile home that she had had after I graduated high school and up until I moved back home. But it had 3 steps to get in and out of it, and Mom's mobility had gotten kind of challenged toward the end of her life. And so we went looking for an apartment that we could stay in that had a bedroom for her and a bedroom for me, and that was all kind of on one level so that she wouldn't have to, you know, take 3 steps to get in and out of her house, and it was a fall risk, and I was worried about her well-being. We ended up in this community down in here, which looks like it's had a recent paint job. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, they've done a lot of siding and painting since we lived here, and they've pulled out a lot of mature trees, which is unfortunate. But yeah, there used to be really good tree cover back in here. So we would come in and we would park here, and there was an entrance on this side. But if I come around here, I should be able to park and show you the specific unit that we lived in. We had this unit right here in front of us. And they've now put railings in. These porches used to just be wide open, no safety railings at all. But Mom loved it because she had the ability to sit here at these first 2 windows. She had her desk right there so she could look out and see what was going on in the community. And we had this flat deck area where she could come roll through the sliding glass doors from the bedroom out onto the patio and be right there on the patio and enjoy some fresh air and some sunshine. We had planted some flowers out in here. They've put new bushes and new flowers in and taken out the dangerous staircases that used to be there. So it's good to see that the community is being better taken care of than it was when we were here. But it was such a nice place, I think, for Mom, because she was able to access more of the out of doors and not feel like she was just trapped in her own house. It also had a much wide open kind of feel to it, and so she was better able to get around than she had been in the mobile home, because there was just, in general, the square footage was laid out better. for her use. So that's where we were for the last several years that she was around. And it's just it's a standard apartment complex, but it had some nice open green space, and she could get all of her transportation would come out here and pick her up for all of her doctor's appointments. And the guy that helped her out, Solomon, shout out to Solomon, he was really good at helping her make sure that she got to the door and that she was safely in the unit. And so yeah, it's good to see that they're taking care of the neighborhood, because it was a nice place to live, and I liked the layout of the apartment that we had. I'll throw a couple of quick shots of the apartment up, because I think I have a couple laying around, and that way you guys can see what that place looked like. I was with Mom there for 3 years, I think, 3, maybe 4, and she eventually did pass away peacefully and in her sleep. But she had had a long battle with some heart disease and kidney failure and eye problems and hearing loss and all the kind of things that you get when you're older. The only concern was my mom really wasn't all that old. She was only 72, I think, when she passed, which, sounds kind of old when you say it like 72. But when you consider that 72 years is only 7 years after you're allowed to quit working and retire, it's really just not that old. And especially now with people living into their hundreds and whatnot. So anyway, here at Forest Lawn Cemetery, I believe that's what the sign said when we drove in, most of my family are buried back behind where I just was. But Mom decided that she wanted a high-rise, so she's in one of these above-ground things. And, while I'm in town, I'm going to stop and say, "Hi, Mom," which I know is kind of morbid and creepifying for some people, but, it's my mom, and I miss her, so we're going to pull up in here and stop in for a bit and say hi. I just got to figure out where to put the car. Don't want to block anybody else's road. Also don't want to park on anybody else's grave, because that would be creepy. But I think if I just park right here for just a little bit, we should be good. So yeah, come with me, I'll show you where Mom is. Yep. So this is Mom's view. Kind of nice, she got trees and stuff. And she's in this building, hanging out on the 4th floor. Now, I will say, as I was walking up here to say hi to Mom and, just pay my respects, I was laughing on the way up here, which is so bizarre, because everybody's all morose about funerals and sad and that kind of thing. But the way my family deals with people passing on is they make jokes. Gallows humor is like a huge part of what my family does. And so as I was walking up, to pay my respects, in my head I hear my son's voice from the funeral, because this is the kind of kid he is. I'm sitting down, he walks in, he sits down like slightly behind or beside me, leans over and goes, "What'd y'all order a dead guy for?" Now, if you guys are not familiar, there's this TV show called Firefly, and at one point in time, they get a dead guy in the mail. Go watch the episode. I'll put a link so you can find out what the heck I'm talking about. So, yeah, my son's version of gallows humor is to refer to my mom as, "What'd y'all order a dead guy for?" And so I'm walking up here just laughing inside about how ridiculous that moment was. And that was like bland compared to some of the gallows humor that happened during my mom's funeral and internment and the whole bit, because my whole family is doing this. Now, my mom is also interred with her last partner, and his family is very much the somber, sad, deeply emotional, no gallows humor whatsoever, and I'm fairly confident that they were all completely appalled with our behavior at my mother's funeral. And On the one hand, I understand where they're coming from, and on the other hand, it's kind of nice to be able to remember my mom in a way that feels fun and lighthearted and silly. And so when I come here, it's actually a happy time to visit her and not a sad time. I mean, internally, I'm like, oh, I miss you, Mom. But at the same time, I'm not just like a wreck because I know I still have my ridiculous gallows humor family with me. So, this is a place you can visit in Columbus. It's pretty cool. Walk around, check out the greenery, say hi to my mom. Right? So, this was the last place I lived while I was in Columbus, Ohio. And let's see if we can remember how to get to the unit. You'll see that I've lived in a lot of apartment buildings. Alright. Yep. So in a lot of the photos that I've had on my channel, you'll see these buildings. Specifically, that building, because that's where I lived.